Yeah, I mean, this is gonna be quite the interesting one, I gotta say. Like VortiX vs Anotand, players that don't really clash all that often. Set side just typically we don't see too many times, so I'm very excited for this one, and we're gonna be starting off with a very aggressive one. We're here with Sunken Lands, with Juji's Legacy up against the French, so also a matchup that I want to say is a little bit more rare. It is a Pro Scout versus Pro Scout Civ. Typically, that's like a Juji versus China matchup, but China banned on both sides here as a first ban priority for them.
Yeah, you mentioned an aggressive map, but I feel like it's just always an aggressive match when we're talking about VortiX coming into the mix. Not really a guy that you hear about like, oh yeah, he's going to macro and boom on up, just, wait till Imperial Age. It's more about that timing attack. And here we go, like you mentioned, not a ton of series between each other for how long both of these players have been competing on the higher level.
Yeah, and I mean, so far historically, it's been favored for VortiX, but recently, as they've already clashed before in the EGC Masters Summer, Anotand, the last set, he managed to win.
Yeah, and obviously he was one of the ones that was, a year or two ago was talked about one of the new and up and coming players, and now is one that is constantly finding himself in the top 8, the top 4, like we're seeing here now. And so he's going to be ready to make a name for himself here again and get a nice whole third place here, like you said, starting with Sunken Lands. And what do you think about the rest of the bans and kind of civs available for each of these players? Do you think either one of them kind of outdrafted the other?
I mean, it's very similar between them when it comes to the bans, right? So China, HRE banned on both sides. Anotand banning Japan and VortiX banning Juji's Legacy. That's the only difference maker here. I find the Japan ban a little bit interesting, but Anotand, he is known to have a very interesting, I want to say, interpretation of Japan. Like, he just plays it a lot on ladder as well. He makes great use of the Yumi archers in the current state of the game. So I'm very excited to see that come in. Shuri's Legacy, of course, an absolute powerhouse of a civilization here, so it makes a little sense for VortiX to ban that one out, so he can guarantee the pick there as well. Other than that, VortiX getting Rus, of course, a super strong civilization. Anotand, though, Knights Templar, we do have Dry River here, and we've seen the Knights Templar one or two times yesterday as well on hybrid maps. They are looking incredibly scary there.
Yeah, that's kind of one where I guess we say hybrid maps, and fortunately there's no like kind of that full water maps. We have Frisian Marshes and Dry River ahead of us, so even with the hybrid maps we have, they're going to be very, aggressive in nature as well.
That's what I'm thinking here as well. Other than that, I mean, Gorge as well. Very nice aggressive map. Frisian Marshes can be aggressive with the amount of natural resource that you have there. Frisian Marshes has changed up quite a bit. No longer the markets in the corner, one market in the middle. There are no longer like these big clumps of sheep. Sheep spawn has been, I want to say, dropped down to a more normal level there. So you can't sit in your base forever. You'll have to move out eventually, but when you move out, the reward is oh so sweet as you get the shoreline fish, and that's just so much food income there for your economy. And yeah, typically Frisian Marshes has stopped being as much of a boom game as it is more of a map control and harassment type map nowadays.
Yeah, I'm sure Adney's frustrated about that one, him being a Rus main, loving all the sheep and deer that used to be able to have. I mean, that was back when you could get bounty at 700, 800 easily with when sheep actually counted for it. But like you said, now Frisian Marsh is much more balanced out, much more of a map control map, which I feel like is the way that like a lot of the maps have kind of started to lean towards it, which makes sense. There's a lot of these like neutral points that you now have to fight over, and it really rewards some of the earlier aggression. You'll see spears come out in the Dark Age a lot even.
Yeah. I mean, Dark Age Spearmen, in this next one at least, are not going to be the case. This is just Juji versus French. Chances are we'll see one thing, and one thing mainly for the first 10 minutes, and that is going to be a battle for the deer, as Pro Scout Galore is definitely going to be coming in here. Both these civilizations just very much known for that, and we're jumping straight into it. Game number 1 for the set for number 3 in the EGC Masters Summer Tournament here. We're starting off with VortiX in the color red, playing as the Juji's Legacy here on Sunken Land. His opponent is going to be Volta Esports Anotand in the color yellow as the French.
Yeah, and you talked about this being all about the professional scouts in the first 10 minutes. So that's one where you start off and you say, all right, let's look at the deer packs, look at where we need to focus in on. And early on, VortiX has two deer packs right next to each other, right close, tucked up near his base.
They're next behind the wood line as well, so honestly, this is looks like a spot that would be fairly difficult for Anotand to access, I want to say. Like, this is just that's just beautiful right there. You could even argue that at this point in time, it's so close you might not even need to go pro scout. You could just wall that. There's a gold in between. You can wall from the wood line to the gold vein to the next wood line, and then you've not just got the deer walled off, you've got a relic behind there as well.
Yeah, it's a ton of map control for very little investment, actually, with the amount of wood that you'd have to pay for that wall. I think you'd have to maybe drop one segment. I'm not sure if that other wood line's touching the edge of the map or not. Looks like there might be just like a brief little gap, and that's one of those gaps where a wall is only as good as its weakest link, which if you have a hole in there, you'll leave your base wide on open for some aggression.
I mean, aggression is definitely going to be the main name of the game here for these two. Typically, we see just the French in general putting up a lot of aggression very early on in the feudal age, as they can just pump knights immediately. Jury's Legacy, when they go for pro scouts, they'll make a minimum, I want to say, of like a couple of infantry units, some Jugendu, some spearmen, just to have some semblance of map control, be able to contest the pro scouting a little bit. But then, eventually, they want to go for their own fast castle age, relatively fast castle age, in order to be able to also pump out their knights as quickly as possible.
Yeah, French is one of those civs that you'll see a lot of times stay feudal for much, much longer comparative to a lot of their other matchups, and they're able to do so because of that knight unit you were just talking about. It's not quite a castle age knight, but it's definitely a pseudo castle age knight over there, and that is all that French know and love. If they are forced onto spears early on, it always feels like it's a bad turning point. And looking at this meditation gardens early, it does look like a nice solid location with double gold vein and a berry bush nice and near.
Yeah, this one is golden, I want to say, when it comes to the meditation garden spots. That's 100 resource per minute right there. Not just any resource, but these are like the prime value resources that you want to have access to as the Juji's Legacy in this one. And that's also a lot of sheep being bought back here now from VortiX. He's looking like he's got a very nice opening here into this game number one.
Yeah, they even threw a few little trees next to it as well, just making it, yeah, it's like, hey, you can take a little wood as well. So lovely opening for VortiX. I'm sure he is not complaining about that. But the meditation gardens is the front side of his base, so that should be an easier spot for Anotand to put some aggression down into, especially if VortiX decides to wall up this side that we were talking about.
And not just that, I mean, the gold is also very far forward, as this is sunken lands. The gold is always relatively far forward from your base, and you only have these like very small gold veins at the beginning. It's also one of the reasons why Juju's Legacy on sunken lands, or China as well, is just very good when it comes to these like gold staffed maps, because they can always sustain themselves a little bit better than other civilizations thanks to the taxation gold.
Yep. And School of Cow finishes, and it is not the immediate night coming out. It is double scouts queued up and professional scouts already in the research bank. Timing going to happen. Anotand did actually run around that back wood line. There is a gap in it. So yeah, I saw his scout run on by, and he got a good visibility of VortiX's side of the base and kind of resources around now.
Barracks has been spotted, so Anton knows, okay, there are going to be some spearmen out on the field. He does have a good enough timing window here, though, at the moment, I want to say, and I do believe an archer range is already coming up inside of his base to prepare for that. There it is, archer range is coming up, and yeah, I mean, VortiX, he's going to be able to expedite the research on his own professional scouts. It is coming in right now, so the timing should still be relatively similar, although Anotand is going to have the upper hand when it comes to scouts already on the field.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the nice thing about the Chinese civilization. You're able to change that. Well, now we got multiple IOs out, but you're able to swap those over and just always re-macro and change up what you need. He pumped out 2 spears in the blink of an eye, and then, you know, move that IO over to the wood line again, and that's where we see Anotand, though, already bringing back some of those first few deer, getting that eco, getting that food income nice and solid for himself.
And this is just also important, these first couple of deer that you are going to be getting in. It's already just a staggering 1,000, over 1,000 food that is making its way over to the base here. Sheep is getting sniped by Anotand, and that looks like he is letting that scout go away, though he does have one of his own scouts on the return path there. Could intercept the one here from VortiX, and indeed, that's what the plan is going to be here. So is looking to not let VortiX bring that sheep home.
Yeah, and I love what Anotand's doing. Sometimes, you know, you wonder, it's like, oh, he got it early on. Why not steal some of your opponent's deer? It's not always about taking your opponent's. It's about securing, getting your own food income online and built up and just immediately just getting that income as fast as possible. So he already has that first full set and he's going. He sent the next 5 scouts on out. So he's going to have the 2 further deer packs from his base already fully secured, basically.
Looks like he's going to have to let that deer go, though, and VortiX once again is going to be the one to bring that Wen back home, as we do now also have some horsemen coming in, but Anotand still, oh my god, there's so many scouts at this point in the game. He is heavily invested in the pro scout at this point in time. We do have 1 spearman here. Wolves are going to try and help out these scouts. Yeah, they are harassing that spearman, and 3 archers will make sure that this scout is going to be able to bring that deer back home.
Yeah, VortiX, though, he got those horsemen out early. Looks like Anotand has a knight out, though, and a spearman for himself. So Anotand did go with like that 1-1-1 military composition, has the spears, has the archers, and has a knight out roaming on around, and did fully secure that far deer side pack for himself now.
Yeah, I mean, this spearman from the French, it's not something that you see typically, and Bolton would say that this is actually an illegal move at this point in the game, but no, we do actually have the French barracks here very early on. Maybe later on the line we might even see some of those French men-at-arms, which are oh so rare, but they are extra stylish to make up for that.
Indeed. Anotand, also, you can see the villager count starting to build on up the lead just a little bit, and that's that French passive. But VortiX has, I believe, 3 of 4 IOs out onto the field, so really is going to start getting that economy pumping, that passive gold income coming in from all the taxation that he's going, and chooks starting to be made as well.
Yeah, with the pro scout play sort of out of the way now at this point in the game, 8 minutes in, we are now starting to see more and more aggression coming out from these players as military mass is being massed up on both sides here. VortiX, Jugunu, horsemen, spearmen, Anotand, spearmen, knights, and archers. You always have to be so careful when it comes to these Jugunu, because they can really do a lot of damage to your own archers, especially the Juji's one, as you are also able to upgrade their range later down the line. So the Jugunu, as the game goes on, they're becoming a little bit stronger than the Chinese ones.
Yeah, Anotand doing a good job idling out that gold for just a bit, but as we mentioned earlier, doesn't really matter as much with the Zuji's legacy with all that taxation, and also we can see the bank that VortiX has already built up for himself. 400 gold sitting, can easily, you know, invest that into some technology or just save it and bank it until he needs to go up the castle.
Yeah, economic technologies are coming in on both sides now as well, so we already have Wheelbarrow and Double Broad-Axe in for VortiX. Wheelbarrow just now coming in for Anotand, but he's already got Double Broad-Axe in as well. Also, the mining camp upgrade coming in there as well, so we'll be getting a lot of resource here very quickly, and it's so nice for the French to be able to get these upgrades cheaper as well. Meanwhile, Ju's Legacy, of course, will get that very nice tax rebate every single upgrade, giving you back 32 gold.
Blacksmith been dropped by both sides. French getting that free, you know, damage tech, but hasn't researched in. Oh, as I say that, Anotand goes ahead, invests into some ranged armor, and VortiX doing the same.
Very important when you're up against the Jugunu, right? So definitely a must-have at this point in time. Jugunu kind of like VortiX, he's just heavily investing right now into the military. Anotand has a similar-ish military count, and he does see the army now marching forward from VortiX with his scouts that he just sent out. He's going to lose 1 or 2 scouts here, but it's very important for him to have vision on this. He's forward with his military right now as well. VortiX, there is a slight raiding group from him being sent into the woodline at the moment. Great reaction though from Anotand, sees it immediately. TC fire is going to take one of the horsemen down, and villagers are going to be kept alive.
Exactly, and Anotand scouting this out knows he needs to keep investing for the time being. If French is on the same number and military count number as the opponents, usually they're feeling pretty good because they have those more expensive, higher value knights that we were talking about. And Anotand has done such a great job trying to kill reinforcing units when VortiX is moving forward, pick off any potential villagers, even though there have been no villager picks yet. And here we go, first little bit of an engagement. In the middle of the map, there is a stealth force, which always makes fighting awkward if you don't have those scouts out and available.
Players do have the scouts, so I got some information there. Anotand now moving out to more gold. VortiX, he is still very, very actively producing units, but look at his income. It's looking so strong at the moment, thanks to the supervision of these Imperial officials, that he is, even while actively making military, inching closer and closer to the age up to the castle age.
And units still just continually being invested into on VortiX's side. And like you said, castle about to be dropped in just a few seconds here. Just needs a bit more gold, and then he'll be able to go up. And not only will he be able to go up, he'll be able to get those technologies in so fast with the IOs that he has, and might just do the typical VortiX timing attacks that we see.
Timing-wise, Anotand, of course, he does have the benefit of having those knights very early on. It just feels like at the moment he might not really have enough units overall in order to really punish VortiX for this age up now, as VortiX has a standing army. It's not like he's just going naked into the castle age here without any military force to speak of. But Anotand, he sees the age up, he sees the army size. He can be very happy that VortiX's army is all the way on his side at the moment and not really attacking him. Could be seeing some snipes here coming in. We do have the infantry following up here. I don't think that Anotand can really get a lot of damage in here. He is trying, though. Knights on both sides, but only a few on one side. But he is actually effectively sniping out all of these spearmen, getting great value in here. Loses one of the knights, but now is going to be able to pounce on the Jugunu. No Jugunu veterancy upgrade coming in yet. VortiX is rushing a veterancy on the spearmen, but the numbers, they are all the way back down to single digits now.
That was such a key timing for Anotand to take this fight. Still going on. VortiX has circled back with the horsemen, but they will not be able to close down on the archers with the defense that Anotand has. VortiX's first upgrade that he invested into was the spears, and that was where the upgrade didn't come through until the fight was already over, until 80% of the spears were already dead.
Archers inching a little bit forward onto the wood line, are going to lose some units here to the horsemen. Jugunu still rapid firing here onto the infantry. You got to be so careful. You want to keep your archer mass alive, though. Anotand does have a great mass of archers here. Horsemen haven't been upgraded yet. There's a couple of knights here and there. Fight is being taken. That's very awkward here in these choke points. I don't see, no, there aren't any more spearmen remaining from Anotand, so he doesn't really have a great counter to these castle age knights, which VortiX has out on the field. Jugunu now inching closer, stepping forward, gap closing in on the archers. Anotand still sniping out a couple of spearmen, but he has to reinvest into knights. He cannot go up to castle age yet.
VortiX, though, fully denied off of gold during that timing, hasn't been able to queue up any more knights, but 3 Lancers is enough to push Anotand back. And Anotand, he's nowhere near castle. We talked about French. They are a civ, though, that can stay feudal a little bit longer, but usually that's if you have a knight mass built up. So that is exactly what Anotand's trying to do. 4 more knights into queue. He is still investing all back into military, not thinking about castle at all.
Yeah, he just doesn't really have the option right now. There's still so many Jugunu out there. VortiX, though, doesn't have a great spearman ball. Jugunu upgrades aren't in yet. So for the time being, VortiX, his knights can still do a lot of damage, but VortiX sees very quickly building up his own knight count behind this.
Another engagement happening. Only 3 knights there for VortiX on the front side. None of the spears. So Anotand actually wants this fight. Doesn't have a ton of spears there. Will get picked off, but archers are just doing a great job kiting forward, continually sniping all of those chooks out. And VortiX, he's actually having to run away, even though he has the tech advantage here.
Yeah, Jugunu just being such a slow unit here means that VortiX, he can't really run all the way back to his base with his Jugunu. Instead, he is going to have to trade out. But this trade is one that Anotand happily takes. Now able to once again put pressure on VortiX. VortiX behind this has gotten a single monk out, so will soon start picking off some of these relics, unless he gets caught out by Anotand. But Anotand still, he's doubling down on the Feudal Age. More knights in queue. He's going for it.
Yeah, and there just aren't many spears out for VortiX, so if Anotand can continue to push forward, can start to deny VortiX off of gold, the Lancers are the big thing to worry about here for Anotand.
Jugunu have now been upgraded with the veterancy status though, so suddenly they will do a lot more damage, not just to these archers, but also to the knights that are the current frontline unit here. From Anotand, we see the knight count is starting to get thinned out here at the front line. Anotand maybe just overstepping a little bit here, overstaying his welcome just a tad bit too long, is now getting pushed back yet again.
Yeah, it just doesn't have any spears there to help. Not that they'd be too helpful, with Chooks just going to be able to kill everything in their path. Looks like VortiX finally is starting to slow down on that military queue. As I say that, it is only Chooks being invested into now for VortiX.
This is the point in time now for both players when the deer are running out. Food has started becoming an issue here for VortiX and is soon becoming an issue for Anton as well. They have started migrating onto those berries. Villagers about to go idle now on that starting mill. Anton already preparing on the berries as well. More villagers being sent out to the corner there as well. They only spawn a single boar in one of the corners here. Typically there's a boar in every corner.
It does not look like there is a boar in the west corner.
He's been... Yeah, sometimes maybe like he got pulled, so he disappears off the minimap, but no, there's no boar on the left corner here in this one.
Yeah, that's so devastating too. That's so much food and the higher gathering rate. Anotand having to move out with that next pack of villagers, so starting to slow down on that food income that he has. And not only that, this is giving VortiX the breathing room. We just saw the relic being brought back in. 2 relics in the bank now for VortiX, so gold income just going to start passively generating even further to add on top of the taxes.
Knights going for a raid, does get spotted out by VortiX though. Villagers are going to get pulled off in time. This is the great thing when both players do go for the pro scouts. They still have plenty of scouts left over to get good scouting information here during the game. But the big Jugunu mass, it's pushing forward. 30 Jugunu now with veterancy status and +2 pierce damage. Nothing from Feudal Age can really stand in their way now.
Yeah, even a big Knight Mass can be dealt with rather easily with how much damage these can put off. Anotand has been spotted out onto that gold, having to back away, doesn't have his Knight Mass near, and this does not look like a good situation. Anotand looks like he was starting to build up the units for Castle, having to take the fight. Chooks just kiting back here from VortiX. Anotand dual box, we can see him trying to do some raiding onto the gold vein, raiding that was much needed earlier on, but I feel like it's just too little too late.
Still making more and more knights here, 4 more knights in queue, but this just delays his castle age all the more. And VortiX, now with the cheap access to the Jugunu, is able to pump out an incredibly strong military unit, and that's Anotand's entire economy on the berries, being idled out, being forced back. What is this mass migration? As we have 52 villagers on a single screen running away from a horde of Jugunu.
I would not want to be an Anotand villager right now. I think the last few other villagers were in that corner as well. That's exactly where they are. Oh, is there even a gate on the wall?
There's not yet. It's getting rushed up very, very quickly. But that's where all the reinforcements are going from VortiX. And he's got the full surround here. That is Anotand's entire economy now going down. Game number 1 undoubtedly has to be going to VortiX here in this one. There we go. GG comes in. VortiX starting off strong.
A solid 1-0 start for the Spanish brother VortiX. A great way to just kind of hold that first initial push from Anotand, get up to castle, and then just go from there. Never took any damage from those scary French knights.
Indeed, and the French economy just was not able to keep up with the supervision from the Imperial officials here. Next up, though, we are going to be seeing the hybrid map that has been picked in this draft. It is going to be Dry River. Now, it's not a hybrid map. It's a hybrid with a small H. There are ponds in the middle of the map, every single one, but there's no deep sea. It's all shoreline fish inside, still with the amount of food there, roughly 2,500 food, depending on if your dock disables one of the fishing spots there or not. You are going to be getting a ton of food for every single pond, so docking in the mid-game definitely worthwhile.
Yeah, and that's where both of these civilizations quite well on those kind of hybrid tier maps. Obviously, Ayubids, they have a lot of extra eco bonuses as well as the cheaper docks that they can utilize on. Doesn't feel quite as bad when you're just going onto those shoreline fish.
The last moments here. All the villagers. And then cruel realization. Ah, man. Ayubids coming in for VortiX, though. Also civilization with very good access to water on this one. Getting those much, much cheaper docks in. And yesterday, Dapson, actually, we saw a relatively interesting play, I want to say, from Louis with the Ayubids, where he went for the... Yeah, we got the Bazaar wing in, so you never know. Maybe VortiX is going to be taking a book out of Louis' playbook there. And could be that we are going to see something similar here in this one. As up against the Knights Templar, it feels like on a hybrid map, you have to be wild if you want to really stand a chance.
Yeah, and I love seeing the Gamba Wing. It's one of those things that, like, obviously, yeah, you can get really lucky and just almost have, like, a free win. But at the same time, like, there's a limited amount of things that's just, like, absolutely useless as far as, like, the tickets that you can get. So a lot of times it's interesting to see what tickets they get and kind of what type of game plan they make and kind of how they adapt to what they're getting.
Yeah, it's the interesting permutations that we're getting now during the meta as well, where players are like, okay, nothing seems to be working at this one. I'm going to be throwing a haymaker here. It's going to be Bazaar Wing. I'm just going to make everything that I can in order to make this game weird and chaotic and not give you a clear goal to a victory in this one. And Anotand, a point behind, he knows, okay, I gotta make something happen here. He's pulling out his strongest civilization for the map with the Knights Templar. Strongest civilization in general, I want to say, on hybrid maps at the moment. Not just hybrid, but also water maps. And yeah, we're gonna have to see just how exactly this one plays out. That we're jumping straight into our game number 2 between VortiX and Anotand.
Yes.
Take it away.
Almost
maybe not.
Jumping into game number 2 between VortiX and Anotand. You know, as always,
they like
the
to
timer,
troll us.
It's a little bit, you know, it's just sometimes it's ahead, sometimes it's behind. But here we go. Game number 2 beginning. VortiX as the Ayubids in the color red. Anotand as Knights Templar in the color yellow.
And there it is. Anotand, he is not waiting for the Feudal Age. He's straight away moving out with the villager onto those pawns. He wants to get the economy going as quickly as possible. VortiX, though, we're seeing the House of Wisdom already coming up in the Dark Age. This tells us, okay, he is not planning on docking in the Dark Age. He wants to go for the fast feudal instead.
Yeah, the just more generic opening, moves out onto the berries, moving out onto the gold. We would see 5 villagers jumping onto that straggler tree if we had any sort of dock opening here from VortiX. And so we will see what he is going to do with that quicker feudal age. Is he gonna, you know, turn that into aggression, turn that into some sort of other eco boom, or maybe just contest and deny the fishing that Anotand invested into?
It's gonna be interesting to see which wing exactly VortiX is going for. It doesn't look like it's an advancement wing, else he wouldn't have dropped that mining camp on the gold. Anotand, we've seen the Knights Hospitaller kind of like being, I want to say, more in focus at the moment, just due to a recent buff, but also just in general, making it much, much harder for you to take any economy damage, as your villagers are going to be receiving a lot of bonus HP there as well. So it could definitely be an option for him. Other than that, I mean, we also have the option, of course, for the Chevalier, the French Knights there, with the Knights Templar. But up against the Ayubids, who already discount any cavalry baseline, probably not the best play.
Yeah, I doubt that's what we're going, but you never know with Anotand and his strats. Sometimes he goes for some of these off-the-wall strategies that end up making sense when you don't think about it in the bigger picture. But only a little bit more time until we see the trade wing from VortiX. Bazaar wing, it is another Bazaar wing opening coming in for the Ayubids.
Looks like VortiX took a glance at the recipe book that Louis was cooking up. So yeah, we're seeing some hybrid map Ayubid Bazaar wing. Bazaar. Well, it is Bizarre as well. Bazaar wing coming in now for VortiX. That means that in 1.5 minutes from now, we're going to be having to look at the roulette table and see what hand VortiX has been dealt in this one. Wait, that doesn't make a lot of sense. You don't get a hand on the roulette table.
Yeah, and this is usually one
I
where
haven't been to Vegas yet.
Yet? Oh. Got an event coming on in Vegas soon you're about to be going to here?
Oh man, I'm still waiting for the official announcement, of course, of the pesty EGC Vegas LAN. We've been talking about it for a while, but any moment now. I'm just waiting.
Yeah, absolutely soon. And we can see VortiX has a plenty amount of villagers over onto that gold, so he will immediately be able to use a few of those tickets that he gets from that Bazaar wing. And as you mentioned with Anotand, it is the Knights Hospital, or however you say it.
Just more of a reason for us to get an in-game announcer pack, so we don't need to just worry about pronunciation for all of these units every now and then.
Yeah, I also have the unfortunate, nerf of being an American too, and we can't pronounce anything either.
I mean, sometimes it's like, okay, you pronounce things differently in other languages, right? Like, words tend to have different pronunciations depending on the language. I would just say it hospitaller. I think it's just gonna call it hospital. I also say limitane though. When I say English, when I speak in English, I say limitane. When I speak German, it's like limitani.
And there we go. And as we already saw the outline from VortiX, it is that plan of trying to not the fishing. And look at the tickets. It's double skirmishers. And these things are so strong. The only unit that you can build against them is a horseman, because they have extra damage against all light infantry.
Oh man, this is a crazy good payout here for VortiX, as he's immediately getting a ton of military troops. And Anotand, I mean, what's he making right now? He sees the units now. Surely this has to be like a response into like horsemen or something. Like horsemen would work quite well for him. Instead, we are seeing a galley being rushed up right now. The Bedouin skirmishers are going to be able to snipe down that pilgrim who is trying to get away as quickly as possible. Nice little run animation coming in there. Ooh, VortiX needs one more shot there. Is going to be able to pick that one off. And yeah, Horseman is going to be the first unit in queue here. VortiX has to be careful, though. Archer ship is about to jump out. Outpost so close to completion. Archer ship. First shot is coming in. VortiX trying to dodge. Look at him dodging.
Look at the micro.
Oh, it's so close. Outpost goes up. Nothing inside, though.
Dies, but the outpost goes up. Not going to be enough damage to take down that outpost. Arrow slits into fortification, wants to fully fortify that positioning. That first horseman has come out. VortiX doing the best he can to kite back with those skirmishers, and it is a 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, that could have been much worse. I think the skirmishers actually did quite a good job there. Scout now jumping inside the outpost. We are going to be seeing those skirmishers following suit behind that. Arrow slits and placement now also coming in, so we'll be able to do a lot more damage to these ships with a lot more range on water now as well. And VortiX actually, with that 0 HP villager, now trying to get a dock up on the other pond there. But with only 2 health left. There's a scout there. He's looking at him. He's looking at him.
He's running. Oh, Anotand. This is going to be that micro
There's
back
a horseman
and forth
there.
Game. Horseman will circle around, I believe, and end up getting that villager just attacking from the 2 different sides. The 3 skirmishers pop out. They
There he
want
goes.
to deny the scout, but Little does he know, Horseman was there, ready and waiting. Second villager falls for VortiX, but he is taking 2 other pawns on the other side. No water in the Dark Age, and yep, there's the 3rd dock. He is really taking advantage of the cheaper docks, and I guarantee you, one of those tickets that he got was for a wood, trade some gold for wood, and he just said, all right, with this extra wood I just bought, I'm gonna go ahead and and there's another one.
Oh, and he got it again, double skirmishers and the Bedouin swordsman. This is a huge army that can just pop out of the House of Wisdom there at any point in time. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Really quick, and those swordsmen counter all melee units.
I'm just gonna say, at the blackjack table, at the EGC Vegas LAN, I'm gonna be sitting next to VortiX.
Yep. You can see the extra.
I'm gonna be sitting behind him, betting on him.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those, if he had gotten that as the first ticket, could you imagine 6 units popping out right as you hit Feudal Age? It takes so much time for your opponent to try to match that, can easily deny the docks, can easily, get up that tower like you're wanting. But Anotand, he is going full forward into not only that outpost denial with building a ram, but that ram will be able to move along to all of these pawns, continue to deny the rest of the fishing. The horsemen move out, trying to snipe the skirmishers, but the swordsmen are there, and it is already 1 horseman down, 2 skirmishers down, and Anotand needs to run on away, or else those horsemen will fall.
These are actually relatively fine trades here, I want to say. Horsemen just so much more expensive than these Bedouin skirmishers, and the Bedouin swordsmen, doing incredibly well here up against them. We still have 4 skirmishers remaining. They're going to be able to do a ton of damage up against the infantry here. Horsemen coming in now as well. Archers doing their best, and they're actually able to do a lot of damage to the Bedouin men-at-arms here. But all the spearmen have been picked off behind this. Only archers remaining, and there's a big mass of horsemen now from VortiX pummeling on the archers.
Yeah, it looked so good there for a second for Anotand, and then a few more units run forward. Unfortunately, it's more archers coming to help when Anotand needs more spears, and the 1 spear that moves forward immediately gets sniped out by the skirmishers. So that ram that Anotand built has to run on away. I believe he still has that galley. Maybe he can get closer to it, get some damage down, but it looks like that ram is going to be traded for nothing.
Oh, never mind. The outpost has been burned at the very least, so outpost eventually will be going down there unless a villager gets pulled, but that's quite the distance. Probably won't be happening in time. And now also spots all of these docks in the mid-map, so knows, okay, my opponent is very active on the food gathering here on water. Villager count still even between them, and Anotand has still been getting in the gold from the pilgrims here. I don't believe they've been denied for the most part, as he is sending them on that left-hand sacred side.
And look at the resources. VortiX about to click up to castle. He will have to wait, since he is a Ubid, for that timer to tick on down. But that still, if you're going to hit castle first as the Ubids, you are feeling in a very good position. And it's looking like that based on the resources right now.
And we are going to be getting that logistics wing, so 3 dervishes spawning immediately here from the House of Wisdom upon reaching that castle age, meaning that he's immediately going to be able to start picking off these relics. And I mean, Anotand, before he can build a fortress, he's going to be on a maximum of 2 pilgrims. That is a total of 260 gold per minute. That's like 3 relics. If VortiX gets 3 relics, then until the first fortress is completed, he's going to be even in the passive gold income to Anotand.
Yeah, basically completely counteracting that civilization bonus. Horsemen diving forward from VortiX. The skirmishers snipe down all the spears. Now they're sniping down the archers. Oh, there's actually 3 spears left that were still hiding there for Anotand. VortiX still trying to snipe them out. Only 1 spear remaining. Still a good amount of horsemen here for VortiX, but a lot of them are damaged. Anotand can probably kite this out. I believe has a few horsemen here himself to defend this, and so will continue to push forward as VortiX is aging up. 47 seconds still remaining.
VortiX did do a good amount of damage, though, on the military count there from Anotand, kept him back there for a while. And now behind this, with the age up, he will be able to get the Camel Lances in, and he will also be able to heal up any of these weak units very quickly, thanks to those dervishes. We do now see a ram coming up in the middle. Also, another dog coming in from Anotand will want to start duking it out a little bit on the water side there as well. VortiX could also get an archer ship up there in time on one of these ponds.
Yeah, Anotand doubling down in Feudal for now, getting range damage, getting wheelbarrow in as well. Whereas VortiX, 3 seconds until he gets to start utilizing that castle tech advantage. 3 dervishes moving out for relics immediately and 2 camel lancers in queue.
Looks like Anotand, though, is pumping out the units all in different directions. He is looking for those dervishes as they are trying to get to those relics, so should be able to deny most of them.
Yep. There are the few spears running as fast as they can. Scout's going to spot this right as the dervish picks it up. And indeed, like you said, the spear is there to start doing some damage. A second spear actually moving there as well.
They're so fast.
And even a wolf to help him out. But they are so fast, just outrunning the spears.
And people ask me why I have a problem with dervishes. They're so fast, the spearmen can't get to them.
And they heal on the move, so the damage being done is just being out-healed. The 2 archers arrive and get escorted on home for the dervish. So at least 1 relic secured. I believe there is a second one on its way back as well.
Oh man, that has to feel so bad. You've got the counter unit there with the spearmen, but the dervishes just being too fast while healing themselves. Any damage in between hits is just going to get fully healed back on out. And VortiX, he's going to be getting a lot of passive gold in now as the game goes on. But Anotand, holy moly, he just exploded on water. So many fishing ships have been produced in the last minute or so. And behind this, Age Up is also coming in very, very soon.
But he has problems to worry about. We see 4 camel lancers charging, but immediately met with a wall of spears, having to turn back around. Anotand gonna be able to click up, and not only can he click up, he can rush this up, and he can afford to do so with the amount of fishing that he just invested into. Has economy to replace the villagers.
Castle Age Up just being very, very quick for the Knights Templar baseline. Only 45 seconds on that. Ancient Empires is going to mean that those dogs are going to be getting an additional 30% health. And also means that he will unlock the Heavy Spearman. Quite the unit that he needs at the moment, because it's going to be able to tank up a lot of fire from the archers while still being a very strong front line up against those Camel Lancers. It's a very slow unit, though, so he's going to have to make sure that his positioning is great. Oh.
That's a huge pickup. Don't know why that dervish got a little bit aggressive. Thought he was a military unit, ran past the relic and into the army. And that's 1 less relic that VortiX has secured for himself. There's the other dervish, though, snagging the 3rd relic, and then the 4th is picked up as well. So 4 relics going to be secured for VortiX right now.
At the end of the day, I mean, you can always remake dervishes in the Castle Age. It's only really when you lose them in Feudal Age that it really, really hurts you. But in Castle Age, you can just, like, they're relatively cheap. If you compare them to warrior monks, they barely cost anything. So it's very simple to remaster them, and you might want to just actually invest into a couple of them as additional units down the line, because the AoE healing is spread to all dervishes, not just the one that you spawn for free. You're going to be able to heal up your entire army very, very quickly with them.
Yeah, the big thing VortiX will have to worry about here well, he just ran out of the initial gold vein, but also food will become a worry. He hasn't been on these ponds, so he has to be on the initial berries, be on the other berries. He's going to have to move out onto the map here in a little bit even further, and it does leave himself a little bit vulnerable. And you can already see the food income for Anotand is much, much healthier with the fish he's still munching on.
Fishing economy, I mean, especially with just how many shoreline fish Anotand is on at the moment. He's getting a lot of food in there. The dervishes, once again, they're being a little bit too aggressive here. That's going to be the last dervishes that VortiX actually had there. So they're all gone now. Spearmen are being sniped out by the archers. There's still a couple of these ancient spearmen here. The heavy spearmen. But they will also fall, and VortiX, with the army size, is going to be able to potentially clean this up now.
Yeah, Anotand, though, still doing a great job of trading archers for archers, has reinforcing units running to the front line and immediately jumping on top of those very, very expensive Camo Lancers, but Anotand has to fall back. He needed to be kiting back this whole time. Does a Wololo to push VortiX away as well. Gives him a little bit of breathing room, a little bit of time for himself. But will that time be enough?
At this point in time, I feel like VortiX would definitely have loved to have some, at least one Cambulance here, as he would be able to heal up all of these. He has no blacksmith upgrades. These archers, they're doing so much damage to him.
Yeah, and now, not only that, they're about to be doing even more damage as Anotand getting the second ranged upgrade in as well. I think Anotand's maybe realized this. That's why he's continuing to take these trades. The archers were sniping down those Camo Lancers like they were nothing.
With only 4 armor, VortiX, he's going to be taking so much damage on these Camo Lancers. This means that every single hit with the last Pierce damage upgrade coming in will do 5 damage. Typical, what you see is a lot less. You're going to be seeing like 3 damage coming in per hit. So almost half the damage just not being negated here.
Yeah, and not only that, that also means the archers on the other side are much, much weaker for VortiX as well. We finally see a blacksmith upgrade coming in, but another Camo Lancer sniped on out, and we're actually about to potentially see a second go down. A lot of resources being thrown down the drain, at least for the time being, but trying to find some sort of economy, some sort of raiding spot.
VortiX, the units, very awkward pathing here on the formation, is going to use some units here on the retreat. The very, very slow crossbowman here could have potentially been picked off. Anton behind us, still only on a single pilgrim, but is having enough villagers in gold to just be able to continuously produce some Templar brothers now as well. There's also a ton of these heavy spearmen out at the moment. More and more crossbows coming in as well, though. Some being picked off, though. They are just now trickling with the reinforcement. Manjanique was in production there. Not something that VortiX can really get up here at the moment, at least not on the front side. Doesn't have a front line at the moment. The Camo Lance is trying to go for raids. He's got to kite for his life.
At VortiX's economy, it's so far out. It's so just split apart in different spots. Anotand still pushing up, still taking this fight that VortiX is on the losing side of. And once he wins, he's actually even splitting off a few units now, trying to go over to gold. I'm wondering if he's going to spot out any villagers, spot out any food. And there he at least sees some villagers running around on the backside, clearing up VortiX's whole military mass, and Anotand looks to be tying up this series and extending it to another game, takes game number 2 and ties it up 1-1.
There we go. Anotand showing us the Knights Templars Browers on water maps or hybrid maps in general, just being so, so good there. Bits for VortiX, we did see the Bazaar Wing coming in here, and dude, it looked really, really strong, but in those main fights, the blacksmith upgrades just not being there might have just been too much there for VortiX to handle. KT also coming back on water, taking over every single pawn, and we see that explosive growth there on the economy graph there as well. But a great play here nonetheless from VortiX in this one, getting that outpost up, taking control over the initial pond again, and yeah, this was a fairly active game, I want to say, about the next one. That's also one to look forward to, as we're going to be seeing the Ruse from VortiX up against the Japanese from Anotand on Gorge.
Yeah, Gorge, a classic map, a fun map to watch. Seeing some of these highlights, you could just see how close this game actually was. This was one of those early fights that when VortiX all of a sudden showed up with 4 or 5 horsemen, he won this fight pretty substantially and really felt like he had the leg up. He ended up taking advantage, trying to go to castle, but instead Anotand just took full advantage of the water during that castle age up timing.
Yeah. And even though he lost a couple of archers here and they're just able to afford those losses, as Knights Templars economy is just so primed for the archer production overall. And it feels tough, like looking back at this and just see for how long these blacksmith upgrades have been missing from VortiX. Guess he just had too many other things that he thought that he needed to invest into. Maybe just prioritizing mass over quality for a little bit too long there. Anotand, he was able to secure both in, and all these pawns behind it, walls already coming up as well. VortiX just knew at this point in time, okay, this one is thoroughly cooked. So we will be going into the next one, and one of, if not the best civilization in the games here, it being picked by VortiX means that he really, really wants to win this next one.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe some of that blacksmith oversight was using all of that gold into Bazaar Wing, maybe something he hadn't practiced a ton. I feel like that's something you might not practice a ton, but you know, who knows there? It is something that, I mean, it's 450 gold, I think, every single time you're spending 3 of those tickets early on. So it's really one that, you know, that's plenty of blacksmith upgrades that he could have had early on, and instead, you know, getting himself some of those beneficial trades.
Yeah, it scales with the age. I do believe in Castle Age it's 325 gold, and in Feudal Age it's something around like 150, 125,
Yeah.
somewhere around that ballpark. But yeah, it is very expensive. But it is time for us to go into our game number 3 on Gorge. We're starting right away as we are witnessing VortiX here in the color red, playing as the Ruse. His opponent, once again, in the color yellow. We've got Volta Esports Anotand playing as the Japanese. Look at that immediate house there on the berries. Might be even getting in some early Tawara in this game.
Yeah, and love seeing what the game plan is for Gorge. It is, as you can see, you know, this big open middle area, resources on the outside, so really can take advantage of utilizing some raiding units in this middle game when those initial resources by your TC start to run out.
Yeah, just boosting up the berries so much. It's really incredible just how quickly you are able to gather up the food there. And VortiX double hunting cabin opener here on the sides around the wood line in the back is going to be optimizing his gold income there. It's going to be some nice passive gold income here for him and Ruse. I mean, we don't really have to mention it, right? We're going to mention it either way, though. It's so much passive gold, Dapston. It is so much. It is not an uncommon occurrence that you see Ruse reaching Castle Age, Imperial Age, and haven't even mined the first gold next to their base yet.
Yep, it is absolutely crazy how much gold income they get just for existing, just for playing the game, you know, gathering resources they typically gather, dropping some buildings that, you know, they typically be dropping. And that's one where we'll see when VortiX actually has to move out to that initial gold. I feel like it's going to be a while.
Yeah, getting money just for existing, that would be me when the stimulus check comes in, but yeah. Oh, VortiX. Ruse is just such a meme sieve to a certain degree at the moment. Just very openly, I want to say, broken in some aspects. It's not an unwinnable matchup for sure. It starts becoming a lot tougher though once Castle Age comes in for the Ruse and they start pumping out those crazy good cav archers. Because as Japanese, you do have your own ranged cavalry unit, but it's more expensive. It does cost gold. Takes longer to produce, I believe, and does less damage, has less HP. You can't really go for that. You can't go for that unit. That unit makes no sense. Instead, you gotta go for... It also has more health on top of that. You gotta go for Yumi archers instead. Mounted samurai, maybe spearmen in the mix as well. That's gotta be your army composition, and VortiX, he can just do whatever, just about. Cav archers, spearmen, knights... men-at-arms, crossbows, a little bit of everything.
I mean, you did say Anotand has a different way of playing Japanese, and usually Yumi is in that game plan. But first, it's going to be the barracks. He is already getting the Tawara in, and the Kura storehouse is over halfway to being built, to being finished, and then Feudal Ages will be happening.
Pro Scout is definitely going to be on the table here for VortiX. Something that I'm asking myself is whether Anotand is going to be going for Spearmen to deny Pro Scouts, or whether it's going to be Onabagashas. Onabagashas are a lot quicker when it comes to sticking on the Scouts, and also means that you have more of a chance to potentially surround Scouts very quickly. Body block them means that the deer won't get much closer. Spearmen definitely an option as well, but I feel like with Onabagashas, you just move across much quicker. And also, you're able to, in mass, run up to archers and just kill them really quickly. But it is going to be the spearmen that are going to be coming out here early on. Not that it can make obligations yet, as Feudal Age is only just now about to hit.
Yeah, maybe he's just wanting to get a few spearmen out, and then also we'll follow it up with Onabugesha still. Feudal Age finishes. We'll see if Anotand changes that queue. Doesn't quite have the food income to queue something else up yet, and it is actually another spearman. So we'll have 3 spears moving across. Both deer packs in the same proximity for VortiX, which can be good, but at the same time, if your opponent's trying to deny it, makes it a lot easier, a lot more of a centralized location for him to deny. So Anotand can just send all of his spears and rally them across to the deer pack location, even though he will have his own side to worry about too.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where the benefits and the negatives are exactly the same. Benefit, you only need to be active on one side of the map. Negative, your opponent also only has to be active on one side of the map. We are now also seeing the stables coming in here from Anotand. 2 workers working on that as the archer range has been dropped by VortiX. So we'll have a response to that. Pro Scout's now in queue for him. Except maybe VortiX gonna have to invest into some spearmen as well, which would make sense. Like, spearmen you want to have down the line as the ruse anyways.
Yeah, and I love the vision we just saw. VortiX, he walked up, he saw Anotand right as he starts building that stables, and then just turned right back around with the scout. He got the knowledge he needed and will be able to make the appropriate reaction. First archer is pushing the first 2 spears that moved across the map back, but probably just temporarily, as I'm sure Anotand will send that first horseman directly across as well.
Horseman now in queue, none out yet on the field. And he's just rallying those spearmen across. There we go. First horseman now coming in. We don't have any blacksmith upgrades yet from the forge, but look at that. Already Takasaiku coming in for Anotand. So he's going to be getting a ton of food from those berries. He's actually going to be gathering from the berries faster than VortiX from the deer.
Yeah, and that's such a feels-good spot, you know? It's one thing that you don't always realize when you're playing against the Japanese, but once you play a few games as them, you kind of get shocked at how much income you actually get from the berries. And the first horseman is across. VortiX has spears in queue, just not quite out yet, but the scouts, they're bringing back the first set of deer. The first 3 deers will be able to reach that TC without any problem. Other 2 scouts do have to drop their bounty, have to drop the deer, and they say, hey, we'll come back for you later.
Yeah, but this is the thing, it's always about those first couple of deer. Once they come in, your economy is going to be good for long enough that you'll be able to just mass up enough units to eventually push back out here. But Anton, he's not letting up. We do see the Onbeganation now coming in. Yumi archers as well, more horsemen. He is committed to the cause in Feudal Age, but you just have to think, okay, you're playing up against the ruse. You can, in theory, never fully deny the Castle Age. It's going to be coming in sooner or later. And losing his spearmen now to the archers did want to deny the pro scouting for a little bit longer, but just not possible that far on the other side of the map without having the units there in time.
Yeah, and that's such a bad fight when you have to take it and dive into the archers with your horsemen when their spear's just sitting. You're not able to snipe down the unit that you need very efficiently, very easily, since your spears have to run up, get into melee range, and if they're doing that, usually you're losing a few before they reach their targets.
Aisha now coming in as well. First Yumi archers arriving here. And Anton, he's getting a very solid army mass out here. Once again, the issue is, can you truly deny the Castle Age from the ruse? Because they don't need to gather anything out of the map. They've already got the deer now inside of their base. So Castle Age is eventually gonna come in. Is VortiX still gonna stick it out for a little bit longer in Feudal Age? That's the question here. I feel like if VortiX sticks it around in Feudal Age for too long, Anotand's going to be looking better and better. We're now also seeing the Daimyo coming in, so these farms are getting boosted up. We're going to be able to see some bannermen coming in as well, boosting up the archers here from Anotand, at which point they'll trade even with the archers from the ruse, but having to pay a lot less for them.
Yeah, and we did see VortiX drop another range, as you know, you're wondering if he's gonna stick up to castle or go up and, you know, go into this feudal age aggression a little bit more. But he is kind of doing that, you know, making military but still banking up resources. He's over halfway to castle age as far as resources go, but Anotand looks like this time he might be a brief step ahead. He has the resources banked. It looks like he will be the first to build Castle Age, which is going to be the first for Anotand in this series. He's always been a step behind in the castle tech.
It's still trying to pro scout on the side from Anotand here, but yeah, age up is coming in on both players' side here shortly. Anotand just needing a little bit more food, same for VortiX though, but yeah, age up will be clicked first by Anotand, and this is where he has a slight benefit timing-wise for sure, because the floating gate is going to immediately spawn a religious unit for him to start picking off some of these relics. VortiX will first have to make a monastery, but look at that double archer range coming in. He's going to be on 4 archer ranges. Those cavalry archers are going to be coming in crazy fast.
Yeah, it was, you know, it's not too much of a surprise to see what unit that VortiX is going to be going for. It's going to be that mass horse archers in Castle Age. It's just such a strong unit. It's also a unit that I feel like high elo players love to play with because you can really, you know, utilize your micro and your APM effectively.
It's also a weird unit, right? Because with Boy's Fortitude, they start having so much health that they start trading very nicely, even up against archers, which in theory, like together with horsemen, should be a counter unit to them. Makes it quite rough. Yumi archers at the very least are cheap though, so we'll be able to get them out. And we actually don't have a Yumi Bannerman. That's an Uma Bannerman that Anotand has at the moment. So we'll immediately have a very high HP knight to work for a monastery now being rushed up by VortiX as well as a follow-up. But at least 1 to 2 relics should definitely be going over to Anotand, maybe even 3, considering just how fast these warrior monks are.
Oops. First mounted samurai popping on out so fast once that Castle Age finishes for that queue time. Horseman going to be sniped out. VortiX doing a great job tracking the few raiding units Anotand's having, trying to kind of circle, get some vision on the base. But we know Roos, they don't really have to move out too far from their base here. And you know, we thought it was horse archers, but VortiX, it looks like he's just doubling down on just archers.
Yeah, no horse archers yet at all. More veterancy upgrades now also coming in for the spearmen, so it's just an infantry mass for the time being. The question is what VortiX is planning behind this. First warrior monk about to come out now. First Shinto priest bringing back the relic on VortiX's side, actually. Okay. He's got to be careful, though. The way back is laced with archers from VortiX, and the warrior monk now sees that Shinto priest out there.
Yeah, but the warrior monk is a little too close for comfort. The whole army of Anotand is right here as well, and that first warrior monk just barely escapes with his life for the time being. Mounted samurai, though, getting circled by those archers, full circle around, but the spears run on away. Anotand, though, he's the one that needs to run away. Just a smaller Yumi mass here. Honestly, he should just take out the warrior. Yep, takes out the warrior monk. The rest of this should be going down. But is that a win? Those warrior monks are so expensive and really delays that timing of the income from that first relic. Oh my gosh.
Plus 2 pierce armor now also coming in. Oh, okay. VortiX, he doesn't have pierce damage yet. Pierce armor level 1 is in though for Anotand. So at the moment, these warrior monks are trading excellently up against these archers. Yumi archers losing them, that's fine. No big deal. You can mass them up so quickly. But VortiX right now, he is going to be losing a whole bunch of these archers behind this. We are now seeing the horse archers being massed into.
Yeah, that seemed like that fight would have gone so much worse, but like we said, again, no blacksmith upgrades at all for VortiX, so those horsemen, those mounted samurais, just able to tank up so much damage and just allowing Anotand to trade just so few units for so many.
And thus, the first relic is still on its way to be brought back. Where's the second Shinto priest? It is now also moving out. Some more relics should be coming in soon. VortiX, he hasn't actually remade that first warrior monk, so no relics at all being contested by him at the moment. Mounted samurai, now with pierce armor level 2. The archers, they cannot do any damage to them. It's not even worthwhile hiding.
the horse archers trying to take the fight, but again, they're just not doing anything. Horse archers aren't really too effective in smaller numbers. It's really once you start to get a bigger mass that you can kite and utilize their effectiveness so well. And VortiX tucking tail, running on away should allow Anotand to move out and secure these other 2 relics.
Looking at the economy count, Anotand is pulling ahead in villagers at the moment. And there weren't any villager kills, so can we quickly take a look at the base of Anotand, see if he put the TC, the Yoshiro inside of his main TC there? It's not. There must have been idle time. There must have been a lot of idle time on the TC from VortiX then. He got textiles in, but that still doesn't explain the villager difference at this point in time. So maybe he's just been very preoccupied with making military units out on the field here.
Is his TC idled right now?
It
I'm
is.
pretty sure it was idled when
it's still idled
right now. Yeah, so there you go. We're seeing it just right. You called it out right then and there. We hover over. There was about 5-10 seconds of idle time. You know, that starts to add up over time. 5 villagers behind, and really shouldn't be. And Anotand just slowly being able to win these trades, and it's like that snowball. You know, you roll it down the hill, and it's all of a sudden becomes an avalanche.
TC idle time is one of those stats that we've been asking for on Capture Age for a long time. It's not there yet. Surely next big patch it's gonna be there. Next patch, calling it now. TC idle time, that'll be there. No cope. Oh, that's gonna be a great camp archer rate though. Waterlow coming in.
Warrior monk taking down. Those things are so expensive.
He's not seeing it.
Oh. 2 villagers down, 3 villagers down, 4 down, and all of a sudden, that TC idle time doesn't matter anymore. Villager count tied up, but VortiX should be able to take the lead, chase down a few more of the villagers, but he's losing the trade on the other side. The last few archers that he had out are looking to fall, but maybe one more village. Nope. VortiX decides to turn around and run.
This was such a tough timing for Anotand there as well, as he's completely run out of gold. He can't make any more Mounted Samurai now before he gets out there on the gold. Instead, might need to reproduce some Yumi archers on his side. The only unit that he can really afford the time being. But VortiX, there's a lot of knights now on his side. Yumi archers trying to push through up against the Cav archers. Might find some villager kills here now at this point in time. Instead, he does have barely enough in order to one-shot the villagers without the Yumi Bannerman. So villager count once again just going over to the side of Anotand, but he just lost a lot of his expensive cavalry and doesn't have any gold income at all at the moment. He doesn't have a monastery yet to put the relics into. So the relics, even though he's got so many on his side of the map, they're not generating any gold for him at the moment.
And that's crazy. He's had 3 relics sitting there. It would have paid back so quickly and alleviated some of this problem you were just talking that he was having without any gold, but has picked up those relics, does have a monastery now, drops the... Okay, he dropped the 3rd relic off next to it, but he has at least 2 of them inside of there now, so we'll start to get some of that passive gold income trickle, and we'll be able to start making some more gold costing units instead of the horsemen that he has queued up, although the horsemen, they trade pretty effectively into those Cav archers over to VortiX's side.
The issue is going to be the knights that VortiX has now pivoted into. Do we have Boyar's Fortitude at this point in time? That's going to be the real question here, because then these cavalry units are going to be much stronger. No Boyar's Fortitude in yet, so at this point in time, I'm not sure if VortiX can really commit to diving, but there's more and more knights that he's pushing out right now, and the Rus food economy at this point in time, just still being super strong. He's out on the boar. He's still getting a lot of deer spawning passively from the high trade house, moving out to the berries now as well. He's getting economy upgrades behind this now for the first time after
gold.
That's the first time in 18 minutes we're seeing Rus now move into gold, as they has just started creating knights. Well, actually, he already made like 10 knights, but now is the point in time where he really wants to make knights. So now we see him going out to gold.
And if he had been able to secure some of those relics for himself, he might not have had to move out to gold at all.
Shinto Priest getting sniped out here. Looks like VortiX is able to, in the end, secure the last relic there, but that's still going to be 4 relics on the side of Anotand. We're now also seeing a Yumi Bannerman out on the field, so these archers will be able to start doing some real damage up against the knights from VortiX, as he still doesn't have all the necessary blacksmith upgrades. Looks like a fight might be coming in sooner rather than later. Actually, never mind. So Uma.
Yuumi moving forward. And the outposts still just been sniping down with that spring on the placement this whole time. 4 villagers there, going to be able to heal it on up. But at the same time, there are 2 knights in the base of Anotand. Looks like to take out maybe 1 more villager. Shivs got pulled, took out the other last knight with a little bit of help from the TC.
Anotand's still ahead in the village department. VortiX now, though, very far ahead when it comes to the overall army value. So this is where it starts becoming very scary for Anotand. He needs to start massing up a lot of military units, needs to start taking some better trades up against the military units from VortiX as well, who is now rushing around the base from Anotand, looking to take some more army villager raids there. We still don't see any spearmen now from Anotand. I think this is really the point in time where you need to add in spearmen as the Japanese instead. Onimusha coming in.
Cav archers come and reinforce the other smaller group, make sure that some of those don't get picked off. And Anotand, he's leading these Cav archers right to where his villager mass is. He's forced to turn, but a few Yuumi there to help reinforce that horseman mass. VortiX hiding that out. Yumi's arrive and giving Anotand enough time to at least build 1 outpost for reinforcements. No emplacement in it yet.
The raid in the wood line. And on the berries on the other side for Anotand as well. There's villagers going down on both sides now. But these are hefty losses for Anotand on his side. And it's on the food that he definitely, desperately needs at the moment. He's down to 500 food per minute here. And he's losing lots of villagers there on the food department. And VortiX knows that. He's just pushing the issue now.
Both food locations is exactly what VortiX raids. Full food denial currently from VortiX over on the Anotand side. Yuumi sniping down. The mounted samurai, the horsemen, they just turn around. They're watching from the backside. Finally, they decide to move on forward, and VortiX turning around to run away. Some mounted samurai raids on the other side. Tons of idle time on the other side as well. Is it going to be an overall villager count is basically dead even?
It is crazy what these 2 players are doing right now to each other. Both players are completely idling out the economy for the most part, but VortiX, he still has a lot more food income right now at the moment. Anotand, he's pretty dry in that department.
87 food per minute. VortiX has been able to, stay out on the berries or stay out on the other, boar, at least have some food that he's gathering from. Meanwhile, Anotand, he was fully idled out that whole time, so hasn't been able to kind of rebuild that military mass quite as fast, but at least does have those farms circled and is building a second TC over by that big gold vein.
Behind this, while VortiX doesn't have all the relics, he is getting every single sacred site. So with 3 sacred sites, he's actually going to be generating more gold than Anotand with 4 of the 5 relics.
Might as well just take those villagers right back off of that gold that he went on out to. You can already see his gold bank is starting to build up, and it's actually one that he probably, that was a joke at first, but he might actually need to do that. We saw how well 2 mounted samurai did into the economy, and now Anotand's going to double down, triple down, berries into the middle, getting raided by those 6 mounted samurais, and a ton of villagers there with nothing there really to defend it. 2 knights arrive to help, but Anotand, he is hungry for villager blood, continuing to chase those down, gets a few more picks, a lot more food denial, and Huck's tail turns back around, and not much damage taken, if any, from those mounted samurai.
Ooh, more night raids as well. On the other side, though, from VortiX's entire villager group here being idled out, villagers jumping inside of that TC. Reinforcements coming out to help out there. But there's still more raids going on at the moment here in Anotand. He is now pulling ahead firmly in the villager, but all the mounted samurai going down.
Look, did you see that villager swap, though? He had the lower health villagers that got sniped down.
Yeah.
He pulled back out, swapped the lower health for the higher health villagers that jumped out on the other side. Just great little bit of micro there by Anotand. He is up 6 villagers, does have a second TC working as well. So the longer that these kind of just back and forth trading fights go now, the better this is going to be for Anotand. But he needs to secure this food for himself. He needs to not be idled. Hopefully hopefully can get some farms around that second TC, get some other food income in there for himself. Although he is above 1,000 food per minute now for the first time in a while.
Yeah, it's starting to look a lot better now. He does have that second Daimyo Manor upgrade in. So the TC boosting up these farms by quite a bit. Villagers are going to have to evacuate yet again, though, as these Cav Archers are going for the kill here. And once again, the woodline, I think at this point in time, it just needs to reposition entirely. These villagers, they've gotten their steps in for the day.
Yeah, this time, though, Anotand had a lot more of an army actually there ready to help defend. That TC, like we said, is upgraded, so it does have a little bit of extra oomph to those shots, but still, VortiX just back and forth, in and out of to this wood line. Anotand trying to deny some of these sacred sites. And overall, just a pretty even game still as we look at this.
Yeah, can we take a quick look at the first gold vein that VortiX has been mining inside of his base? How much gold has he mined so far?
like 1,000, 2,000.
He's got half. He's got it half, and he's got 20 knights on the... 20 knights on the field, 2,000 gold gap. That adds up. That makes sense. Yeah, so much sense. Not like he's lost knights before, but yeah.
And VortiX does scout out the other TC, but is diving between sprinkled in place towers, gets a few more villager picks. Anotand still in the lead, but now VortiX splitting his army, spreading himself a little thin, so Anotand trying to take a fight with these horse archers, trying to run those down, do as much damage as possible. Knight's turn, horse archer's turn, just for a little bit of kiting, a little bit of damage, but every single time he does turn, that should be a few horse archers that fall.
VortiX, he's just thoroughly sticking it out with his army composition of just pure cavalry at this point in time. Anotand, his resource income, it's just been idled out every time by these mobile units, so it's not looking that great for him right now. More and more Namusha in production, but you can tell, like, it's so difficult for him to keep massing those up. Was that the Shogunate Castle? The upgrade that just came in? I think it was the Shogunate Castle, so now he actually has a very strong main TC there inside of his base, and these farms are going to be boosted up by a lot now. That's going to be a lot of additional income for him. And finally, the first spearmen, if only there were like 15 more.
Rocket. Rockets firing on out. You can see a knight getting sniped. He finally at least forces VortiX away for a little bit, but VortiX might just take this mass. He did spot out that second TC location earlier. He might just circle and try to attack there. Anotand constantly trying to deny this timer that has been slowly ticking, 6 minutes 43 seconds for Sacred victory, but will not fully deny that yet.
A knight on the sacred side is going to get quickly sniped. There's a scout on the other one still pausing. Wait, why is the timer not paused? Ah, it's that bug. Okay, timer not being paused, even though there is a scout on the sacred side. That is also going to get taken down slowly but surely.
Typical bug we've seen before, and VortiX does indeed circle around to that secondary TC location I was talking about. Anotand is getting reinforcements into the towers, but just a little too late on that front side tower. Second tower reinforcement does come through just in time. Villagers jump inside the TC. Not a ton of room there, but main engagement is happening. Anotand, I don't know if he wants to take this fight. I don't think he can take this fight. Remember, a lot of those are Yumi fighting up against horse archers, fighting up against knights. There are mounted samurai here, but just not enough. Only 3 left. Anotand's tuck and tail and running, and VortiX is going to stay on this economy and stay on it for a while now. Anotand's been struggling consistently with that income. He might have that villager lead, but the villager lead only matters if your villagers are actually working.
And there's just 30 idols at the moment here. Outpost with the sprinkler placement is getting denied now as well. Onamusha's numbers aren't looking that great for him anymore. Spearman, I feel like the Spearman transition just was a little bit too slow. He didn't have the front line that he needed here. And sure, he can always fall back to the main TC with the rocket there. But he's going to need more than just rockets in order to take down the army right now from VortiX. He's just continuously pumping out those cavalry archers. And the relics are all forward actually now.
Yeah, not as much damage done as I was expecting, though. Thought there would be a little bit more Vil losses. Anotand does have all of those villagers working again, but the relics are being burnt. The question is, will they be stolen? Is there going to be a heist? VortiX immediately queues up to Priest Warrior, and he will cross the map rather quickly, do a little bit of some Relic heist on this side.
And these relics have been so important here for Anotand this entire time as well. He does now have a respectable amount of cavalry, not cavalry, but anti-cav with the spearmen. Still needs a couple more, but the spearmen at least are going to be a nice front line up against these knights, while the Yumi archers are able to pepper down on the cavalry archers.
4.5 minutes went in just now. That's a little one for archers. And how many archers VortiX are on?
There's a little bit of a row-body situation going on. In the meantime, though, VortiX is still just kiting out these spearmen so effectively. Spearmen, we were at like 15 just a second ago, now already down to 7 spears remaining, and the Yumi just aren't able to take down the cavalry archers quickly enough, and now, without the spearmen remaining, Anotand being forced back inside of space. 4 minutes remaining on the sacred site victory condition, and there's just more and more knights, more and more cavalry archers coming in.
Anotand has just constantly been playing this defensive game and just hasn't been able to do it effective enough, hasn't been able to do it efficient enough. Army getting taken down yet again. TC is helping with the rockets, but is it helping enough? Army count doubled. 20 villagers is still the lead for Anotand, but just not enough resources to actually be able to turn that into military. First 2 relics have been stolen now as well.
At this point, I mean, VortiX, even though Anotand's been on 2 TC, even though Anotand has 20 more villagers, the economy, for the most part, is actually pretty much dead even. And the gold vein, the large gold vein on the side here from Anotand, actually about to be completely depleted as well. Gold's about to fall even lower for Anotand as those relics are now being brought back, and VortiX is going to be able to take those. Yoshiro getting taken here as well. 3-minute timer just been hit on the sacred sites. This is just a rough one for Anotand. He's got to go for one last hurrah here, it feels like. But is it realistic for him to win against this insane army from VortiX? 11,000 in value up against 3,000.
Yeah, I mean, even if he had another 20 villagers right now, I just still don't think the 2.5 minutes is enough time. He is moving forward onto the northern sacred site with a decent sized mass. I think it's the Onimusha moving forward, and VortiX just decides to move to the rocket TC yet again. You can see all the little red units on the map moving towards that sacred site, and the rest of the army now as well. Timer's getting lower. It's at a quarter. Will the rest of the army get there in time? I believe it will.
Nice.
He's just going to stall it on out.
Yeah, now that he's on that sacred site, isn't getting decapped at the same time. Reinforcements also going to the bottom sacred site. A single spearman trying to hold out there is going to get picked off by a warrior monk and a knight there as well. Now Anotand, he's rallying everything to the bottom sacred site, but that's exactly where the main army from VortiX is going now as well.
Yeah, and not only that, VortiX last 2 relics on the way back will be 5 relics, 3 sacred sites. If we thought Bruce didn't need gold, they definitely don't need gold now. He still has his main gold vein, and actually all of the villagers have been pulled off it, and he's going to build, look at his bank he already has with the gold as well.
I mean, pure knights, surely not. Maybe knights need to cost more or something. I feel like, honestly, maybe every single cavalry archer unit in the game needs to cost at least some form of gold here. Because it's just ridiculous how strong this army from VortiX is with how little gold he invested into them. And now with the entire army from Anotand once again getting depleted here, there's just no way for him to come back in this one. He's trying to mass up more and more of these spearmen, but the numbers are still falling behind. Just a small gold trickle at the moment for him as he's mostly mining stone, but you can't even make castles with Japan in the castle age. So no real use for those other than emplacements and potential TC upgrades, or just straight up selling the stone.
Yeah, I'm surprised Anotand hasn't called this yet, but there's still a minute left. He probably feels like he's got a good eco because he does have that Japan eco online. But as he's trying to do this outpost rush to the northern sacred site, finally villagers being sent there. VortiX is reinforcing with a keep. He was just one step ahead. Villagers standing on the sacred site. It's actually looks like it's going to get decapped, but the other sacred site, a keep getting invested into there as well. And even if it's not, the villagers jump off.
Yeah.
This is over. This is such a feels bad.
And now the army from VortiX, the keep, will go up. The surround is coming in on the other side. Cavalry archers just taking down everything in their path. Anotand, he tried to go for the outpost and placement rush there on these sacred sites. Not able to do so. GG comes in. VortiX now taking the lead and finding himself on match point.
What a crazy, just back and forth game the whole time. Constant, just back and forth. But VortiX, it slowly trickled that lead into a bigger and bigger and bigger military mass. Anotand finally had an economy lead, but it just never was able to stabilize the military.
And in the end, it also is the old thing with Rus, right? Because they don't need to transition into farms as early as other civilizations, thanks to all of the passive food income that they're getting with the high trade house, with those deer spawning inside of their base. It means that they don't have to go for the investment that early. They can invest more into the military, and these efficient trades that he's been taking in the mid game just carry so much value with them. As we look at just the army value here, it's been surviving for such a long time. It's so difficult for the UV archers to take down a unit like the cavalry archers. It has over 110 health. It's quite tanky. It's quite tanky, and the UV archers don't do bonus damage, so you need a huge amount of them to start one-shotting them. It's just not really a situation that you want to be in. It's actually one of the reasons why Ottomans actually do quite well up against the Rus, as the Janissaries do bonus damage to pretty much everything that the Rus army composition consists of.
Yeah, and the really, really nice part of this military composition that VortiX chose is that he gets to choose the engagements that he wants to happen. He has the mobility, and so he's just pulling Anotand all around the map, only taking fights that he wants to take.
And next up, we're going to be looking over at Excavation with a matchup with Malians up against the House of Lancaster. And House of Lancaster and Excavation is interesting because on this map you do have quite a few of these points of interest that you can excavate, where you put a villager inside after capturing the point of interest and it starts generating you stone. Stone, definitely something that the House of Lancaster will want for their manors, but also upon gathering a certain amount of stone, you actually excavate a relic. So that's where actually all the relics on this map come from. There's not a single relic outside of the ones that are from the points of interest on this map.
Yeah, very, very kind of cool way that the map works, a kind of newer way. People have been asking for like a change up of, map design and abilities and things, and this was one of the newer intros to it, and it's been a very, very exciting way to watch the maps, kind of how the games unfold and how these civs are going to do it. This matchup, it's going to be a little bit of a battle of passive resources, although that's I guess that's going to be a lot of the civs now are just starting to have all their ways of passive resource generation.
All right, 2 more minutes before we jumping into that one. Malian as well, though. That's it's one of the, at this point, classic civilizations that we've got, right? Like the cattle boom, it's synonymous with the Malians, but very often recently as well, we have seen the Farimba play as well, with those Manza javelin throws, and up against a civilization like the House of Lancaster, which do enjoy the occasional yeoman as well. Could be a valid choice. Now, I don't think you necessarily have to go for that, because both these civilizations are masters when it comes to passive income. But still, I feel like at the end of the day, Mali has to feel a lot more at home with their own passive income, with those pit mine, with the cattle ranches, with the Fulani Corral. In the end, you just get more than the House of Lancaster. Cattle are just so effective, and sure, you're not getting wood, but you can just gather that very easily. Meanwhile, food is something that you will eventually have to transition into, even as the House of Lancaster.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the civs now, the newer civs, have kind of their own little ways and dials to turn to get passive income, but I do feel like Mali has been the king of passive income for a while. It's just crazy when you see that cow boom come off and be effective, and not only that, is once Castle Age hits, it makes it that much stronger. All of a sudden, you just look up and they don't. It's just like Bruce not having to take gold. It's all of a sudden you look and you're like, does Mali even have any villagers on food? Do they even need any villagers on food?
Yeah, sometimes as well, like once the infrastructure is up and you kill like 10, 15, 20 villagers from Malians, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm ahead now. And the military production just doesn't stop. It keeps on going for the Malians as long as these cattle are in their ranches, as long as the Fulani is boosting them up as well. There's just going to be non-stop military production coming out from them. But now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to jump into game number 4, potential match point for VortiX in this best of 3 to decide who is going to be on the podium, spot number 3 on the EGC Masters Summer tournament. We're jumping right in.
A big game number 4 indeed. VortiX on the Malians, Anotand on the House of Lancaster, sticking to the same colors, VortiX in the color red and Anotand in the color yellow.
Do actually have that House of Lancaster Dark Age barracks coming in. Now, this is something where... Wait, okay, never mind. He's going back. He's going for the rune, for the excavation side. You could also, right after, go for the aggression on the pit mine. It's very nice for House of Lancaster to go for this type of play, as they are gathering a lot more food from the sheep early on. Just a lot quicker food generation there, which does mean that this Dark Age play doesn't really delay them as much as it would other civilizations.
Yeah, it does bad to put some food into your and really as much tempo as you might realize. Spears, like you just said, they can make the points of interest. They can be effective moving across, starting to burn those houses around the mine and maybe even the pit mine. But for now,
you have the villager moving out now as well.
Scouts just circling, trying to scout the map. Villager has jumped on inside that excavation site, is working on that stone, or I guess passively generating that stone.
There we go. Spearmen are now moving out. We do have an outpost actually coming in from VortiX, and look at that. The sheep right next to it is going to be dropping that mill there as well. So we'll be able to gather up safely next to the outpost. Villagers won't have to idle out for too long in order to just be able to jump into the outpost should Anotand try to do some pressure there. Find this. Currently no age up yet. VortiX had to gather up an additional bit of wood for this, so is going to delay his own age up at least for a little bit. Another excavation site now being captured in as well for him. And Anotand, he's already put the first villager inside the excavation site in the back there, so is already starting to generate some of that stone, already up to 60 now.
And he has 3 points of interest already excavated and moving on to other ones. So he's about to just be able to put villagers on to all of those if he so desires. Manners will be so easy to start dropping once he gets to that point.
Now, people in chat are also asking about why you would pick Malians on this map. Now, Mali, just in general, is a pretty decent civilization to have here. Now, they don't really synergize a lot with the bonus stone income here at all, but they do synergize with the amount of gold veins that are out there, as you can actually fit a good amount of houses around these smaller gold veins as well and still get a ton of passive gold generation from them.
Spears weren't able to go houses like we were, though. The outpost was forced on out. The Lancaster Castle is on its way. The 4 villagers building it on up. Manticore, though, like we talked about kind of the difference where Lancaster's not too much 4 spears, and they're 15, 20 seconds behind.
Lancaster Castle, 6 villagers on that. Is being rushed up right now. VortiX Manziquari getting rushed up with 5. The question is behind this, are we going to see an immediate play into the cattle ranches? There is a mill coming in. More houses on the pit mine as well. So now the question is, where is VortiX going to prioritize it? Is he going to actually send villagers actively onto the gold vein, or is this just going to be passive gold income for him for the time being, what he's going to be working with? He's got a lot of villagers on wood as well. I do believe that maybe, yeah, he already has the first mill after all. So there we go. Cattle ranch is now going to be coming in for him. We'll be seeing that cattle boom now for him. He's going to need more gold down the line, though, because for these cattle, they are quite expensive at the end of the day.
Yes, they are indeed. First manor already being built. Nice and tucked up next to UTC near the gold vein. Here enough to the influence of the castle.
There's another one coming in as well. That's all right. No, never mind. That's the archer range, so we'll make some units as well. Need some archers in order to get some map control here. And Anotand, he's gotten pretty much every single one of these points of interest on the map under his control right now. It would be nice to see just how many he actually has villagers inside of. Getting a good amount of stone in behind this. Still has 200 stone in the bank as well. First manor coming in, second manor about to be completed. There's a villager in there. So has, yeah, 2 villagers at the moment inside of these ruins. Is getting 120 stone per minute right now.
I mean, that's enough for a manor a minute, essentially, and that will allow Anotand's passive economy to just skyrocket a little bit faster, maybe get on to its level footing, quicker than the Mali.
And those archers now coming out, so VortiX will start to put on some pressure on the map here. And we do have a lot of villagers now also actively gathering gold there from the pit mine, so should be seeing a lot more cattle coming in, as we're already up to 5 out of 20 now for VortiX. And yeah, he's just fully investing into the cattle ranches now. This is going to be a full-on cattle boom from him. Davison, we talked about this. I think this is actually a good bit stronger than what House of Lancaster can do with their maximum manors here.
Yeah, and you can see it now. Anotand already getting the upgrade in. Gonna be planning on dropping another 3 manors here probably in the next 2 minutes, minute and a half or so, based off of the resources that we're looking at here.
Villager from the middle ruin there is getting sent back. You can actually put them out early as well. You don't need to have the villager in there for eternity. So these archers won't be able to pick off that villager that was just hiding inside of that ruin.
Yep, and 4 archers able to push back a few of those different rune locations. You can see VortiX just circling around, scouting around, going to each of those points of interest.
Yeah, more of these pit mines now also coming up for VortiX. That's going to be more passive gold income for him. Now up to 9 out of 20 cattle. It's just going to keep on increasing. And sooner or later, we're going to be seeing that fully fledged Malian economy here behind this. But Anotand, he's also getting in the full force of the House of Lancaster manors now. With the amount of gold that he has, wouldn't be surprised to see now a very quick Castle Age transition coming in from him as well.
Yeah, and I mean, again, this is kind of similar to last game, where they'll both be aging up at very somewhat similar times. Anotand will be, maybe a step ahead. You can see VortiX, it looked like he was about to queue up 3 or 4 more cattle and then maybe canceled a few because he saw the resources in the bank, will be able to drop his own castle soon.
Some more economy upgrades coming in before as well. King's College is getting cancelled out, and it's still going to be King's College, but it's going to be a little bit further in the back of his base. Stable already coming up, and King's College Knights are really, really nice when you're up against Sofa. So with the Color of Estus upgrade from the King's College, your Knights are going to be dealing an additional +6 damage to heavy armored units. And even though the Sofas look as though they would be, like they would pass as a lightly armored unit, they are in fact having that melee, that heavy armor tag on them, so they do fully count for that. Now Grand Filani is going to be coming in for VortiX behind as well. That's going to be a great amount of food income for him once that finishes. More upgrades coming as well, so Wheelbarrow will be researched alongside that. King's College, of course, doesn't immediately give you any economy benefits at all. You just unlock some additional technologies, but you will also get a plus 20% discount on every single technology that you research.
Yeah, makes it much cheaper for you to get those necessary technologies you're wanting. And VortiX, yeah, he might not have the full 20 cows with the Grand Filani, but he will be there in the blink of an eye. Will not have a problem with it, here in just a second. And that food income, it might be 512 per minute as we're looking now. It's going to easily be 1,000 plus here in just a bit of time as well.
Exactly. And now Double Knight already in queue. VortiX does have Donzos being produced for him. We do have Master Nobles though, so suddenly army value skyrocketing just a little bit for Anotand as we are getting 8 Demi Lancers out onto the map now. Together with those knights, that's a really, really strong cavalry front line here for him. But the Donzos, if we're getting like an additional 4 or 5 out of them, or VortiX should definitely have enough units to respond to that.
Yeah, and the thing about the Mali economy is you can't really dive and do a lot of damage to the Mali economy without either just all-inning them or taking down, their far-out pit mine. I feel like it's the only thing you can really do. It's not like you're diving on villagers that are out on the deer, out on, the wood line or anything like that. They're very compact.
And behind this is also getting the upgrade for the last 3 remaining manors that he needs. Still more cattle being produced here. We are seeing some walls now as well.
Yeah, investing into some walls there on the eastern side of the map will have a lot of safe spots for himself. Also secures two of those smaller gold veins for himself. And is attempting to burn down those houses, attack that second pit mine like I was mentioning, although there are more and more Donzos that are getting pumped up. 7 Donzos out for VortiX. He doesn't actually have any more in queue right now.
Look at Anton. Yeah, he's not producing anything. He's going for fast Imperial Age behind this.
The fast Imperial Age play. He's got half the resources that he needs already, so won't be too much longer. Does have the mobility in his army, and usually what the mobile army can do is just keep your opponents in the back foot. It's not like VortiX has a huge mass, but if he did decide to start moving forward, Anotand just runs around it, attacks that second pit mine again, forces VortiX's army back, and that gives him the time, gives him the breathing room for this Imperial Age play.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the wall's already protecting these gold miners now as well. And VortiX, he's just buying so much time right now with these knights, and yeah, we are now seeing some sofa upgrades for VortiX, poison arrows in as well. I'm wondering what Anotand's going to want to make as soon as he hits that Imperial Age. In theory, up against VortiX's army, just mass spearmen is nice as a frontline, but the archers are still going to do really well against them.
You can see Anotand still just circling around with this cav mass and just hasn't been able to find too much damage, but I think it's still proven to be effective because it's kept VortiX on his side of the map, kept him from not moving out, and that is where Anotand is going to be dropping Imperial Age right now. There we go, Wingard Palace, 12 units on it.
And the interesting thing is what he's going to be making from this. Now, we've seen from the Chinese community that there is a little bit of a meme meta, or at least there was a little bit of a meme meta for quite a while, with only 3 manor fast Imperial Age into just mass siege from the Wingard Palace, where you just get the Republicans in, the Culverins, and it's actually quite difficult to hold out against that if you don't suddenly like mass enough archers for it. That's also kind of counterintuitive to go into mass archers, because if you only have archers, then Hobilars are suddenly going to be an excellent choice there for the House of Lancaster. Doesn't look like that's going to be the game plan, though, from Anotand. I think he's most likely just going to be making a lot of spearmen. Yeah, there we go. Spearman upgrade already coming in now for him.
Spears and more spears is what we're about to see. Poison Archers was invested into by VortiX. Doesn't have a huge archer mass though, just enough to kind of one-shot spears on the other side.
This has to be such a surprising Imperial Age now for VortiX. Grant, probably at the end he kind of expected it just because he didn't see any military. But getting confirmation on this is very, very difficult. And all these manners here in the back of Anotand's base, they're so safe. Scootage should be coming in shortly as well. So once that comes in, is also going to be receiving a ton of passive gold, which is important as right now, at this point in time, none of these players have excavated any of the relics.
Yep, no relics have been excavated. We see a little bit of some Shire Levy coming on in, so Yeoman coming out in just a few seconds. VortiX.
No upgrades on them yet, though, but yeah, Spearman Mass is building rapidly.
Yeah, and VortiX knows he needs to do something. He queued up 7
Hopeless.
Sofa, 7 archers, another 7 Sofa in queue. He's moving across the map. He's starting to attempt to burn down that wall. Anotand needs to be ready for this defense here.
Ultra's being pulled away from the gold there. Hobbler upgrade is coming in. Anotand, is he going to start just massing up mass Hobbler here in the defense? Sofa's now storming in. He does have imported armor on them, so they will barely take any damage at all from this manor and Lancaster Castle fire here.
A very, very tanky front line that VortiX has, but all of a sudden we blink and Anotand military numbers are basically dead even, not too far behind, and he is Imperial Age, so should be able to have a tech advantage here in just a little bit. Upgrades are coming through, and I think that's what Anotand's waiting for. He wants to wait for these last 2 upgrades to finish and then might be able to take the fight. Oh, it's a double veteran, not even elite too.
Yeah, so still gonna take a while. 2 manors already have been taken down now. Anton, I mean, sure, you're up on 30 spearmen, but your opponent, he's got 30 archers and 30 sofas as well. VortiX is doubling down the castle age. We do have some knights with some spearmen. Well, not rather knights, but like demi-lancers right now here at the front side. Not able to do too much, but there is a double-pronged attack going on at the moment here as VortiX reinforcement are hitting from the left side and the remaining units from VortiX on the right side. And Anotand, he's got to be really, really careful here with his wood economy, where he's sending those villagers off to. He's very much trapped inside of his base, and absent, this could be it. This could be it. Villagers now going down rapidly inside of the base here from Anotand. Just the mass of spearmen, it does not feel strong enough. There aren't any blacksmith upgrades for him either right now, so they're taking the full brunt of the damage from these archers.
Yep, this is that typical VortiX timing attack, and the thing about Mali is they have so much passive income to just continually put into this attack. VortiX has been doing a ton of damage, has a significant military lead still. Anotand's been having to reshuffle the villagers, move out and around, and just doesn't have the income, doesn't have the economy to stabilize this. It looks like villagers just run out of that gold vein, another villager or 2 will go down, and more manors about to start to be burned.
And VortiX with the Malians is showing us here who the true king of passive income in Age of Empires 4 really is. Anotand trying to rebuild manors in the back there behind the King's College. But for every manor he rebuilds, another manor is getting taken down. It's just so many sofas at this point in time, more and more coming. The passive income just truly over 1,000 food per minute here for VortiX. Meanwhile, Anotand can barely keep himself above 400. Spearman once again rushing in, trying to get some connections in here. But VortiX with the archers is just keeping on shuffling back behind it all.
Yeah, and the great thing about the Poison Arrow Archers is it doesn't really matter what unit they're hitting. On Anotand's side, every unit they're attacking is somewhat effective at least.
There are a couple of Earl's Guards in the mix right now as well. A couple connections now on the Poison Arrow Archers. VortiX still streaming more and more though, as we're seeing a lot of red dots moving across the map here behind us. So there's a ton of reinforcements making their way through towards Anotand's base. It just doesn't feel like he's got enough to defend here. Now we're seeing spearman numbers less than 20. And now elite spearman coming in, but it just feels like it's just a little too late.
less spearmen than the sofa on the other side, those pseudo knight unit, essential knight unit basically, and more manners being burnt. VortiX wants to finish this up, wants to take the series 3-1, and it's looking like he is in a great position to do so. Anotand, 21 villagers idled out, currently has his military count, his military numbers are just falling, and VortiX prime position to end this game right here and now, diving the TC. He is ready to finish it.
Yeah, so first no holds barred. This is the moment in time now. A couple remaining villagers here are getting sniped out as well. Anotand, 18 villagers lost so far behind us. Typically, as the House of Lancaster, you're like, okay, maybe I'm still fine. I still have a lot of passive income from my manors, but the same goes for VortiX. All these cattle ranches, all these pit mines, they're just working overtime here for him. Sofa's now diving in, and everything is infantry. Everything here is gonna get mowed down by the Sofa archer composition from VortiX. Anotand trying his best to snipe out the archers, but he does not have enough yeomen, does not have enough spearmen, and this has got to be GG. VortiX is gonna be able to win this set 3-1 up against Anotand and secure himself third place in the EGC Masters Summer. Yeoman now still running for their life, but Anotand realizes there is no way back. GG comes in. VortiX taking the game.
A great timing attack to punish the Imperial Age play from Anotand. It looked like Anotand almost had gotten away with it. It looked like he was in a fine position, but you can see the graph of that military lead just completely turn upside down, and once VortiX took that fight, he was not stopping.
No breaks remaining there at this point in time. The Sofa, with all of their bonus armor, imported armors, making them more tanky to the archer fire than even knights. So he can very comfortably just stay underneath all of these arrow fires that is coming in from all of the manors buffed up by the Lancaster Castle, not taking too much damage there at all from them. And yeah, I mean, it's just mass is going to be continuously reinforced here. This one truly just shows us that Malians, they're really like the civilization that you can't let them you just can't leave them alone. The pit mines, the cattle, it's just so much passive income, not even the demon civ can keep up with it.
Yeah, they definitely have that civilization standpoint that is like, you have to attack them. You cannot let them play their own game. You have to delay them of some sort, whether it's the pit mines, whether it's the cows, whether it's just an all-in. You cannot let Mali play their game.
And I mean, these poison arrow archers as well. It just doesn't even really matter if you have armored units there or not. The poison ticks all the way through. It doesn't discriminate between armored or unarmored units. They're great all the while you have them. And the Sofa, excellent frontline, easily massable. I do believe that before we're moving on to our grand finale set here for the EGC Masters Summers, we should still have an interview here with VortiX. So let's jump in. It is time for the interview with VortiX. All right, VortiX, congratulations on your spot number 3 in the EGC Masters Summer Tournament. How are you feeling on that one now after beating out Anotand 3-1?
Thank you. Well, it feels pretty well. I normally go into tournaments with, high hopes of reaching semifinals, so that was already decent. And making top 3 is actually really cool. I also got my revenge, right? Because I lost in the loser bracket, so against him, it's kind of nice.
Yeah, revenge definitely is best served cold in that regard, so getting that one in must feel good. Up next, though, you're going to be seeing Marine Lord up against Louis MT, and Louis MT, he's been looking very, very solid. He's been able to beat you there in the semifinals. Who do you think is going to come in victorious up between Marine Lord and Louis?
I think it's going to be really close. I think it always is between them. But honestly, for some reason, I'm feeling for Louis in this tournament. It's like, I know the series yesterday, it looked like I played really bad, but I don't think that was the case. It's just impossible to play against him. Like he's one step ahead all the time, right? He's defending where he has to defend. He's raiding where he has to raid. He's always making the right army compositions. It's super hard to play against him. So honestly, I think Louis might have a good chance, but at the end of the day, it's Marine Lord, so you cannot bet against him, right? I think 50-50.
That's true. But I mean, yeah, there were some interesting strategies from Louis, and some even that you adapted here today, as we did see you also go for the Ayubid Bazaar Wing there on Driver versus Apple. It was very interesting to watch it all. Were you like just kind of thinking, okay, this worked for Louis, maybe this is actually like a good strategy, because it actually seemed quite strong there for you?
Yeah, I mean, Louis did
very
it.
quickly, before we going into that question, could you quickly try and reconnect on the call? I do believe, yeah, we got a little bit of a robot voice going in there on that side.
Okay.
Now it's just me here. Anyways, how have you guys been doing today?
Okay. Is it better now?
There we go. Yeah, it's better now. Now we can hear you.
Yeah, sometimes my mic does weird things. I have to reconnect it. Yeah, about the Ayubid thing, I lost yesterday against Louis. It looked kind of strong, but at the end of the day, it's also a gamble. If you get like, I don't know, 4 stone stacks, you're kind of doomed. But then again, against Knight Templar, I didn't really know what to do. I ended up with a draft where I only had Ayubid for a hybrid game. So I thought if I get like decent units early on, maybe I can tower his lake, and that's fine, I guess, from there. And I was actually super lucky, but even then, you cannot do anything against KT on that.
Yeah, Knights Templar, they're just a little bit built different there in that regard. But on that, of course, you did, of course, have Ruse as a civilization there. That game must have felt really, really good for you, right? Like just being able to execute the Ruse game plan there, being able to play to your strength. Even though Anotand was able to take pretty much most of the relics there in that game. But in the end, like once you got into that position where you're just running around with the Knights and the cavalry archers, how are you feeling there? Did you think, okay, at this point in time, there could still be a chance for Anton to come back in this one?
Yeah, I actually thought so, because I would assume he was like 20 villagers ahead or something. I don't know, it was a weird game. I felt like in the early game I played really well, then on the mid game I completely babooned, and I made a really bad army comp at the beginning. I went for castle archers instead of horse archers straight away. I lost all the map control, lost all the relics, but then the late game I think I played kind of well. So yeah, kind of a game to be happy about, but could have been much better for sure.
All right, VortiX, once again, congratulations on your victory there. We're now going to be moving into the grand finals. Anything else that you want to tell our viewers here towards the end as we are heading into that set?
Not much. Let's just go, man. I want to watch this series so bad. I think Louis against Marine Lord is a complete banger right now. Just want to jump into games and see how they do.
All right, there it is. We're going to be jumping straight into that. Thank you, VortiX, and we'll see more of you surely in the next tournaments.
Thank you. Bye-bye.